The idea for the format of this production, Shakespeare, in Teams or Zoom, recorded one act at a time and released on YouTube, with no costumes and no set, was born out of pure circumstance and necessity. We needed a project to work on for our fall production, and the reality of the situation was that we could not be together to work on it, nor could people come to view it. And so, our virtual production of this Shakespearean comedy came to be. Why Shakespeare? Well, the honest reason is that Shakespeare's plays are not copyright protected. They are public domain, meaning there is no required production contract with the publishing company. That's the long way of saying that the scripts and the rights are free. And when you can't have a ticket purchasing live audience, free is good. Now, why one act at a time instead of the whole show at once? Here's another honest answer. Smaller chunks seemed more manageable for me and the students. Since I've never directed a show in this manner, and most students have never acted in this type of production, I felt that focusing on one act at a time, getting that ready and recording that one act just felt more like something we could accomplish. Why no costumes and no set? Well, again, I returned to attainable goals. I just wasn't up for the logistical hassle of getting costumes and set pieces and props out to the cast. Plus, I wasn't really sure how much effect it would have since the actors are basically acting from the shoulders up. So instead, let's just focus on diving into the text, learning about the characters, and telling the story with our voices and our facial expressions. And somehow, through all of the choices born of necessity and circumstance, this might just end up being the production that most emulates what Elizabethan theatre was actually like in the 16th and early 17th centuries. See, Shakespearean actors didn't have costumes that were specifically made for the characters they played. The actors just wore their nicest clothes. Even the male actors who played female roles didn't wear dresses that were specific to the character. So, Juliet may have worn the same dress as Desdemona, Miranda, Viola, and even our dear Rosalind. Shakespeare plays at the time also did not feature specific set pieces or designs. They were performed on a bare stage, sometimes in a bare palace hall, with the occasional bench or chair. No specific costumes or set pieces? And yet they still managed to tell sweeping tales of timeless characters? How did they do this? They relied on the text and their delivery of that text. And that is exactly what our production will rely on as well, much, I believe, to the approval of good old Willie Shakes. On top of that, Elizabethan plays, Shakespeare plays in particular, were often rehearsed one act at a time. Why? Well, because the author hadn't always finished writing the subsequent acts. Actors learned their lines for each act, not always knowing where their character would end up, causing them to focus on the now of their character and not worry about what lie ahead. Though we are working with a complete play, focusing our rehearsal on one act a week in some ways recreates what Shakespeare's actors went through. I hope it also adds some urgency to our work, because we too must just focus on this one thing before us, not thinking about what is behind or ahead. So, quite by accident, we present our oddly true to the original version of Shakespeare's As You Like It. That's not to say we haven't made some changes, though. A duke is now a duchess, some lords are now ladies, and of course, we've done a bit of cutting here and there. But we hope the light-hearted foolishness of these characters in love and out of love, melancholy and joyous, will entertain you just as it has entertained audiences for over 400 years. You'll see some fine work by our actors, enjoy some great visual ideas by our trio of designers, and hear some excellent original music by our composer. There are certain to be some technical imperfections along the way, but we hope this tale of losing oneself only to find a better version, this tale of love found, lost, and then found again, this tale of fools and forests, this tale of true love shining through in the end, brightens your day a bit and reminds you that all the world's a stage, even though right now we're all staring at a screen. So proceed, proceed, we'll begin the rites, and as we do, they'll end in true delights. Enjoy the show.